right, story time. So I'm going to try to keep this brief because I can't discuss this topic without getting emotional. So story time today is talking about my hero. And I have one hero, and this woman is leaps and bounds above all others. Now let me preface this with saying I have had awesome mentors and coaches and great people come in my life, out of my life, people that are still in my life, that are heroes. Okay, but I'm gonna tell you about my hero, and I'm gonna tell you why she's my hero, because she deserves it. And it's Judy Stockton. She was my 6th grade teacher at Brentwood Middle School, in Brentwood Middle in Williamson County, Tennessee. How do I describe her? Miss Stockton was tough. In 6th grade, I was 13. I was I was 12 turning 13 in April. I'd been held back a year already. I could not read. What we'd come to learn was that I was reading on a 2nd grade level and mostly just sight words. So it and the, John, stop, go, the real easy ones. I was terribly, and I still am, dyslexic, but it was completely undiagnosed. So I had a very significant learning disability, and I was able to, I was able to exist or be passed all the way to 6th grade, just by functioning primarily in special ed classes and with good humor and grace by teachers and authority figures. I don't know. Truly, I don't know. I don't know how I made it that far. It did not take Miss Stockton a week to discover I could not read. Every time we had to read or opportunity, I pulled one of my tricks out, and either I ran out of tricks or she was just really smart. But I'll never forget, we all had to read a chapter of a book, and we had our tables set up in groups. So group 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it's on my group, and my turn's next, and I'm sweating. I remember feeling the sweat on my back thinking, all right, got to get out of this. I'm coming up soon. So came to become my turn, and I just went, did a huge fart noise. Big hit with everybody but Miss Stockton. She said, get out in the hall. So I got out in the hallway, and I was like, best case scenario, I couldn't read, didn't want to read, didn't want anyone to know I couldn't read. I'll take the punishment. So we got out in the hallway, waited for her, and I'll never forget. She walked out there and shut the door behind her and said, boy, why didn't you tell me you couldn't read? And my world shattered. How did she know? I thought I had fooled everybody. And I was horrified. The anxiety I had every day living with that secret and trying to just navigate the world. And she said, well, we're going to fix this. And I wasn't in trouble. And that began a relationship that changed my life for a number of reasons. If not that day, the next afternoon, she started tutoring me every day, 5 days a week, for 2 hours for free. And that went on for 3 years. So 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, I reported to Miss Stockton's class after school every day. And by the end of 3 years, not only had I tested out of special ed, commensurate to all of my peers in everything, in English and reading and math, and I could do nothing prior to that. I mean, I could multiply my 10s, my 0s, and my 1s. That was it. And now I could do long division, and I could dissect sentences and identify which was the adjective or the noun or the predicate or whatever I had to do that day. And that lady sat with me and read me my first book. We read Shane, and we read The Outsiders and A Tale of Two Cities and these wonderful novels. And we would talk about them and discuss them. And she would pick things that were relevant to me in my life without me knowing it. And she showed up and she worked hard, and I showed up and I worked hard, and I knew the expectation. And I thrived because she cared and she loved me. And and she did a lot of extra that she never had to do, wasn't compelled to do, wasn't rewarded for, and it changed my life. That's one. Two, and this is even more life-changing. So during that first year of sixth grade, Miss Stockton gave me her home phone number, and she said, just in case of an emergency. I was at home on a weeknight, and there was such an emergency. I don't know, some sort of fight, confrontation started with my foster family and I. I really don't remember the details, but it got out of hand and it escalated. And I want to tell you, this is like 10 p.m. on a Tuesday or something. So I called Miss Stockton. I said, "You please come pick me up, or you need to come pick me up, come get me." And in that moment, somebody hung up the phone, line goes dead. I remember making it's foggy, but I made a judgment call. And in that moment, it was fight or flight, and I chose flight. So I ran. And I think I had on a pair of shorts, no shirt, no socks, no shoes. I had already had like dinner and a bath. I was getting ready for bed when all the commotion started. So I was running down Franklin Road, which is a big street in kind of the middle of Brentwood, Tennessee, big road. It wasn't as busy back then, but I was running down there in bare feet, and a big full Ford Explorer pulled up next to me. And this warm, soft voice out a dark window came and said, "John?" I looked, and it was Miss Stockton. She found me. She drove immediately over to that house, and she saw me running on the way, pulled over. So I got in the car, and this is what I'll never forget when I think of Miss Stockton. I was 13 years old, and the people I loved the most, or thought I loved the most, or, wanted to love the most, or be loved by the most, I just left a really bad situation with them, feeling all sorts of pain and loss and hurt and confusion. I opened that car door, and I got in the passenger seat, and she put her hand on my back, and it was like a warm, nice touch. It was okay. It was safe. And her first words were, "Are you okay?" Man, I lost it. I immediately started crying. Because she was only concerned about me. She only wanted to know I was okay. All the ugliness in my world had immediately shifted, and I felt loved. Like legitimately for real loved. When my daughter was born, when I was 26, and when my son was born, when I was 35, I took both of them to meet Mrs. Stockton before they were a year old. And I've never said these words out loud before. But I guess I did it because I know I did it because those two angels will never have to wait 13 years to feel like someone ever really loved them, ever. But moreover, they got to meet the best of the best, like the gold standard, the smartest, wittiest, kindest, empathetic, toughest human on this planet, and they got to touch that, and they got to see it with their own eyes. And no matter what, how I fail them or how I screw up, or no matter whatever happens, they got that. They got to touch that light. So that's my hero, and that's why she's my hero. I went on and on. This went way longer than I wanted it to, but I love you, Judy Stockton. You're my hero.